My parents' house on my father's side was in a remote area in the mountains, where my grandparents lived. My grandfather works as a stone shop, and I hear that he made all the tombstones and stone monuments in the village. My grandfather seemed to be very proud of his skill and would often take us out for walks to show him his work. It happened when I visited my grandparents for the first time in a while during the summer vacation of junior high school. Newspaper was spread out in the annex of the house, and a small unfamiliar Jizo statue was placed on it. When I asked my grandmother what this Jizo was, she said that it was in your shrine near the village chamber of commerce. Perhaps because the village was not managed properly due to the aging of the village, Jizo's arm was broken when I tried to check it. When my grandfather saw it, he took permission to repair it and brought it home. I had never seen my grandfather work before, so I was intrigued by his work and immersed myself in the detached house. My grandfather carefully wipes the Jizo with a dry cloth, and cleans the chipped pieces in the same way. Jizo's left arm has already chipped and fell to the ground. Do you want to reinforce your right arm? Saying that, my grandfather made something like glue, and when I lifted up Jizo to paint it, Jizo's arm came off with a bang. The damage was more severe than I thought, so it was better to harden it with cement, and the work ended there. From that night on, my grandfather began to behave strangely. He says that his right shoulder is stiff all the time, and he always turns his right shoulder because he feels uncomfortable. My grandmother said that it was her grandfather who first told her that her shoulders were stiff. The next day, my grandfather became even more strange. He said that he had a strange sensation in his right arm and that it was difficult to move. Worried, my father took my grandfather to the hospital and had him undergo various tests, but no abnormalities were found. However, it continued to get worse, and finally my grandfather became numb to the fingertips of his right hand and could not move. As expected, there was a clear abnormality, so I had him checked again at the hospital, including the possibility of cerebral infarction. But there was still no abnormality. My grandfather was in such a state, so Jizo was completely forgotten, but after a few days, my grandfather began to say, "It's a pity to leave Jizo alone." There was no other choice, so my father and I repaired Jizo under the guidance of my grandfather. Jizo-san's arms that had been taken off were properly attached and returned to their original shape, so I returned them to your company. Then, that night, my grandfather's right arm healed as if nothing had happened, and he began to move. Our family was surprised, and it became a hot topic that the abnormality in my grandfather's right arm was caused by the curse of Jizo. It is said that Jizo-san misunderstood his grandfather's goodwill and misunderstood that he was hurt. After that, as a result of properly repairing and restoring it, I think that Jizo's anger was resolved. It's just a speculation, but if you don't think so, you can't explain your grandfather's anomaly. Ever since this incident, for some reason I feel scared of Jizo-san.